also worked with corporate houses and industries, private sector, government of West Bengal, and then government of India as a personal manager, personal officer to begin with, welfare officer, and then conciliation officer with the government of India. And then shifted to teaching. For last 32 years, I have been teaching. Um, and Shankar said that I shall take at the end of my presentation. And the topic that is given to me is very sensitive. Tagore as philosophy and human resource development. In fact, Tagore's philosophy is so vast. Tagore's philosophy is so time appropriate. Even after 100 years, 120 years, 130 years, it will remain. I think 100 in 150 years also it will remain most time appropriate as the providence he had, and he had given us the ideas and thoughts about the development of human resources. Uh, Let me begin with the Tagore's life and work with Shantiniketan at Shantiniketan. Beginning his first effort in developing human resources with the establishment of Brahmachari Ashram, which is now called Pathabhavana, in 1901, 119 years ago. He thought of a center for learning and development of individuals in a different environment, which is a combination of the traditional Indian Gurukul as well as the modern education, as what the world was then doing it. So that's uh, very important in his life also to experiment with a new system of education where he planned for education by keeping the students in a natural ambience and be very practical and down to earth with an approach of making a complete man out of every human being. That is, he thought of the development should come from and within. And for that, we need to keep a space, need to keep a peace and place where the people will come out with their own questions of acquiring knowledge, developing the life skills of managing self, and that will be the integral part of the education which they learn from the books, which they learn from the literatures, which they learn from their gurus or teachers, being very close to them. And to make them closer, the children closer to the gurus or teachers, he changed the concept of sir or a distant relation. Instead, he introduced the system of calling Dada and Didi. That is like brothers and sisters. They would be close. They can open up easily with their questions that they are struggling with to get an answer. They can sit in the beneath the trees and see how these trees are spreading their leaves and having Sundays, how photosynthesis is done. Everything, it's like a life laboratory where from. So human resources, if we start with human resource development, then it should start at a tender age. That is at the children. We are taking human resource development. When I went to work with the corporate and industry, I found that we are trying to reform an individual who is habituated in a different way of life. That is not what Gurudeva wanted. That the way of life, there should be not only life skill education but also the skill based education. Skill based education. That's why he introduced after Patavavana when he started Shikha Shatra here in 1924. He um, made vocational education compulsory with all those mechanism like those days, whatever was required, whatever technology had come in were being introduced as a curriculum in the school. Not only that they will be carpenters, the carpentry work, the weaving work, the stitching work, cycle repairing, and things like that, which were very essential, so that they do not become a junk. Because he was very opposed to that of producing clerks and officers in the way that British wanted to train people to be a clerk or officer and carry on some job. Today, the same trend is going on because we have not explored the requirements of the in society, industry, and organizations. Rather, we have been confined, developed a syllabus and curriculum in which we have to read, quote, memorize, quote, and pass out. That is he was against that. Tagore's philosophy of education was against confinement in a syllabus or curriculum. He wanted to keep it open. He wanted to keep it open. He wanted to keep it like whatever is required. And he said that all these universities coming to the century celebrations, when he founded the Institute of Higher Education, Vishwabharati, in 1921, his thoughts went beyond. It's not university is founded in a particular place, but the university should work as a brain of human body, which spreads its nerves and veins across the body. Like university should have its own branches, own learning centers spread over in the communities. And what would be their curriculum? What would be their courses? It's not a certificate distributing or certificate courses, but it's a life skills courses where the woman can take up household management, home management, the food and nutrition, whereas the farmers can take up like farming system, modern scientific farming systems, knowledge about different kind of organic farming, things like that. That is need based curriculum, need based education. And that is where I think we have diverted to a different stream of education where we have confined, specified within the course, within the syllabus. And that's why where the philosophy of uh, Tagore in human resource development is totally different from what we are doing under the Ministry of Human Resource Development. Of course, now changed to Ministry of Education. Huh? Ministry of Education in this of late, this Ministry of Human Resource Development is changed its name to Ministry of Education. All of you are aware. So it's not the guidance or imposition that comes from the ministry, but it is a course and curriculum for development of human resources, which is based on the needs of the market, needs of the or demands of the society, demands of the business, demands of the um, economic environment. What economy wants us to produce? Not say technology and management institutes opening up and producing engineers and management graduates who does not get a placement anywhere, who does not get, because there is no requirement. We do not know how many managers, how many engineers required to work. There is no assessment as such. So Tagore was against this kind of education, which was his philosophy was totally different to hmm, his philosophy was totally different because I have to switch it off, otherwise I'm going to be disturbed. uh, so that's what I want to stress upon, that philosophy of Tagore was different. Then I will come to another important aspects. While founding this Institute of Higher Education, and from school itself, he wanted to invent or channelize the different types of skills, competencies the students have, by giving them an opportunity to come out with their natural skills. That's why he wanted sports and games, encouraging sports and games, hobbies and others, that fine arts, literature, music, these are our integral part of our life. And without this, we cannot survive. We cannot, in fact, channelize the education. We cannot channelize the potentialities of the human being, uh, what the human being have with them. Uh, as a human being, we have different kinds of potentialities which needs to be channelized, and for that we have to creation of an environment, fearless, but the mind is without fear, head is held high. His messages are very clear, that we should create an environment where there is openness, where there people will come out, and providing this opportunity to the people, like management theories. you know all of you may be aware, not many of you, but those who have studied part of management, that it says there are two kinds of people. Douglas MacGregor in the 1960s founded a theory X and Y, where he said that there are two kinds of people, X and Y. There are X kind of people who always try to avoid work. They need to be threatened for punishment to get work done. And there is Y kind of people who are very positive, seek work. Work is like food, rest, and play, and would like to, given an opportunity to perform, they will come up with their own potentialities and innovating capacities. So that's what Tagore was trying to bring in. And that's why, while he founded Sriniketan Institute of Rural Reconstruction, where I think the second part of experiments in human resource development he tried with. He said India lives in villages. So if we are really interested to develop this country, we must focus on rural, and his focus was rural and ecological. For for if you see the his thoughts, his actions, his intervention, its whole focus was rural and ecological. And Sriniketan, which he had been trying since he took the ownership, responsibility of supervising and monitoring his work in Bangladesh, in Silai Doho and Potishar, as a part of his as a landlord of that area. He tried with at Birhampur, developing cooperatives, bringing in new seeds, new type of farming, and organizing them. And what he materialized in Sriniketan experiment in 1922, after founding Vishwabharati in 1921, he started with another experiment, Sriniketan experiment, Institute of Rural Reconstruction. He did not say development, he said reconstruction. The objective was to bring back life and its completeness into the villages, making the rural folk self reliant, self respectful, and acquainted with the cultural tradition of their own country, to make com- efficient use of the modern resources for their social and intellectual development. He is very, very specific in his objectives, that we want to bring back those cultural, social, and cultural values that kept people um, growing, that kept people living in peace and harmony, in an environment where there was no much conflict, but all kind of prosperity they looked for. If even there were lots of sufferings, there were um, natural calamities. There were people had to depend on rainfall. The people had to depend on many other things. Things were beyond control. Science and technology were just in progress. Industrialization in progress. So he thought of intervening with the people in the rural areas to develop their skills. He started the schools for the rural boys and girls called Shikha Shatra, where the vocational education was the focus for the development of human resources. Second important intervention he brought in is upgrading the skills of the traditional artisans, rural artisans, the potters, the carpenters, the blacksmiths, the cobblers, all trades of occupations, all trades and occupations were being revised and using technology, small technology, whatever was there, using how can we make technology friendly crafts or handicrafts, even with with addition of values, with addition of certain aesthetics in these artifacts, in these handicrafts. He started training them. He brought in leather work from Morocco. His son, of course, Rathindranath, brought in Morocco's leather technology, learned from studios in London, then coming and introducing at Seniketan to develop the skills of the people in artistic leather craft. Pratima Devi, the daughter-in-law of Tagore, uh, by being mobilized with the philosophy of Tagore of bringing in some new education and education that gives employment to the people, like batik from Java, and introduced in Sriniketan, Shilpo Sadan, Center for Cottage Industries. Now, all these cottage industries training, he started very scientifically orient, and that was oriented towards the development of human resources from the rural areas who may not have education. Hmm. He starts intervening with agriculture. He sent his son. Uh, he sent his son to প্রশান্ত, আহ, আমি একটা সেশনে রয়েছি, হ্যাঁ, হ্যালো, আমি একটু একটু পরে আসছি, আমি একটা সেশনে
হ্যাঁ ওই 12টায় কনফারেন্স রুমে মিটিংটা হবে। হ্যাঁ
12টায়।
12টায়
হ্যাঁ, এখন কটা বাজে?
হ্যাঁ
আচ্ছা, আমার
মানে
একটু 10 মিনিট দেরি হতে পারে, হ্যাঁ, আমি 12টার সময় অ্যাকচুয়ালি এখানে
অ্যাড শেয়ার করবেন।
বুঝলাম। ঠিক আছে, ঠিক আছে, একটু বলে দেবেন যে আমি আসছি, আমার একটা ক্লাস চলছে, সেশন রয়েছে, ঠিক আছে, হ্যাঁ, কমপ্লিট, এই তো নতুন শুরু হয়েছে, ঠিক আছে। সো being called for, but so what I was trying, that's how get this started. um, Technology, he is bringing technology from like Swedish loom, huh? People from, and he acquired different types of technology from different countries, and then while doing this kind of development of resources, he thought of organizing the communities with whatever resources they have in the form of cooperative and community based organizations that will help people to organize their efforts in production, market, distribution, and marketing. That was very important. The people in the communities were then dependent on the moneylenders to get some fund. Banks were not, and moneylenders were lending money at a high. So he thought of organizing people in forming a cooperative bank. And there were, by 1938, there were some 200 plus branches in about 180 villages. Those days, can you think of 1938, almost 80 years ago? And who were managing this? These were being managed by the people from the community who needed training for account keeping, bookkeeping, managing different, managing liaison with the people. And all these were being coordinated from Sriniketan and Shantiniketan. So development, and not only that, that is one. Second intervention, he found that the people mostly suffer from malaria, tuberculosis, and things like that. And for that, he thought of, because there was no state or state-run hospital or private hospitals for the treatment of the people, he started organizing the rural uh, uh, people by forming cooperative with a cluster of villages, with hiring a doctor and a pharmacist, and managing the whole supply of medicines, whatever available those days. And we have seen this health cooperative. One is still surviving in Surul village, because after the state started giving these health services, these were. But even I have been a member of the villages, and those days we got the benefit in 1980s. I'm talking about 1980s and 90s. We used to get services from these health cooperatives, which is an organized effort by the people in the rural communities to manage organizations. There were a number of, for weavers cooperative, consumers cooperative, so many cooperatives. And what I find today, if these cooperatives are not working today because of the complications of the Cooperative Act and cooperative laws and things like that, and I should say people's motivation, involvement in corruption and things like that. But how come these business magnates are having their corporate houses with the malls and shops are working so well? Because we do not have that kind of knowledge and expertise to, we have not been able to develop these human resources in the rural communities so that they could manage their own organizations, to bargain for their own product, to bargain for their own product. Now the potatoes we bought at 40, 50 rupees, the farmers will be selling at 5 or 10 rupees in the next couple of months. You will be finding that all products there is no taker, and farmers do not have the capacity to bargain. And they are not organized also. That is also there. Anyhow, let me come to the focus. So what Tagore was focusing on the development of the human resources right from childhood till adulthood, and then going beyond. We have seen that all his energies, all his focuses, all his thoughts and ideals were very life centric, down to earth, and time appropriate. That is, whatever is needed during that time uh, was being, sending his son and son-in-law, friend's son to University of Illinois in America to study agriculture and animal sciences. I'm talking about 1905 and 1910, when they come back and contribute this knowledge, whatever practicable, in Indian context. It's not that people will contribute, people are developed with, people should have this knowledge and skills. And to develop that knowledge and skills, it is very important to, it is very important to strategize the development processes. And in that sense, I should say Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore was very strategic in managing and developing the human resources from childhood to adulthood. It's an integrated, even we follow that from KG to PG and PhD. Uh, Now, this integrated approaches in human resource development with strategies applying like openness, like freedom, like though we are not left with any kind of ideals and practices. We are becoming like a general stream of education, like following the UGC rules and Ministry of Education guidelines, as well as what is the new education policy is going to come up again, focusing on the human resource development. But ultimately, what is happening from my experience, I would like to share with you that when we are sending, see, people should have contact with the community. If the learning has to take place, Gurudev started taking the children from the school um, to the nearby areas, 1905, to plant trees around the barren lands, to make guidelines to stop soil erosion so that the um, soil is preserved. So environmental education, that people need, students need to learn about the environment and its preservation and upkeep. So that was done. Then again, his effort was to make people understand about the dynamics of life with focus on being with the communities, living with the communities, taking the students. In fact, the Surul Village Extension Center was opened 1917. After he bought this Kutivari in 1912, he started extending some extension work where he was taking the students to the community to participate with the programs and projects that are being implemented in the community. That is, live and be with the farmers and animal keepers so that you learn from your observation as to how toiling work farming is, how difficult, what are the knowledge you require to keep up animals, domestic animals, and how it pays back to the family, how it helps the family to survive. So all these things is so much. So he started taking these students to the communities, which we still continue in our department, 2 days a week in the community and 3 days class. Three now 4 days class. Of course, we are working on 6 days week. So this community university partnership is the major intervention that Gurudeva started in the early 20th century in partnership with the community. So the human resource development strategy adopted by Tiger is partnering the community, partnering the people, poor, rich, middle class, whosoever is there in the community. So this university community partnership provides a platform both beneficial both to the individual as well as the university and the people, general people, because all experiments, soil testing, soil can be brought onto the soil testing laboratory, which Gurudeva did by sending it to University of Illinois in America for testing and bringing the result, and then advising the farmers to cultivate what kind of crops that is suitable for this soil. And today we have our own laboratory here. We do definitely. The university is doing. We have KVK, Krishi Vigyan Kendra. We have soil testing lab just separately installed, and seed development lab. So many, but we have to partner with the communities. Now, Ministry of Education, or erstwhile the Ministry of Human Resource Development Ministry, has introduced a scheme on university community partnership, that every university will have to adopt certain communities, and partnering with the communities, they will contribute towards the development of knowledge and skills that is to be acquired by the development. I think that is the best strategy for human resource development that was advocated as well as practiced by Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore almost 80 years ago. So that's why 100 years ago, I should say, not 80 years, it's 2020, 1920s, he has started all these activities. Beginning his school at 1901, 1901. So whatever development initiative we find today, it has to match with the present requirements of the market. What is to be taught in, what skills are to be inculcated, what potentialities are to be channelized, depends on what exactly the market demands, what exactly the society demands, what exactly, then only this issue of unemployment can also be tackled to some extent, prevented to some extent rather, instead of people graduating and looking for jobs. Everybody wants a 10 to 5 job, want a table and chair seat and then come back. And that's what all is aimed at, which was to Gurudev was totally against this kind of practice of nurturing some clerks and officers. But there should be clerks and officers. There is a need for clerks and officers, but still we need it should be market driven. This is we have to look for supply chain management where what is the demand of the market and how we would develop the human resources in today's society with the institutions, academic as well as training institutes, whatever it is, can address to this issue of human resource development. I'm really grateful. I have to leave. I don't have much time, but I would love to interact with you, all of you, because I know there are knowledgeable people who are aware more than what I have just shared in just half an hour, 35 minutes. Um, I would love to listen from you and also maybe address some of the questions you may have. I request the organizers to keep the questions, and whenever the time permits, sometimes in the afternoon or somewhere, I can come back and join you. But right now, there is a call from the university that I have to attend a meeting being organized from 12 noon. So thank you very much for your patient listening. I don't know whether I could give you any message, but I tried my best, and I will try to come back again to address to the questions that you may have in your mind regarding human resource development and Rabindranath Tagore. Because people asked me, you studied from, I studied 6 years, 3 years in school and 3 years for graduation here, and then while I was mm, uh, looking after the placements of the students from this department, I found some of the industry and the executives were asking, when did start Gurudev this human resource development courses? Oh no, his university is a human development university. Please read Gurudev from the beginning, how he started, what was his mission and vision for Vishwabharati, and how he tried to impart education from childhood to adulthood. Then you will say he was a real human resource developer. What you call in modern day today is I don't know, but it's a really human resource development organization, and it is still focusing. Though we have constraints to follow the UGC and Ministry of Education laws, rules, regulations, as well as to keep up space with keep in with the other universities and academic institution. We are compelled to follow, but we must go beyond. We must step beyond our boundaries of the course, curriculum, syllabus, and things like that. With this, I would stop, Shankar. Thank you very much for inviting me to be